Hello to all that are out there. This is CPR Coach Rodney here with Blue Chip Five Star Sports, preparing for our first episode in the new season of broadcasting for Blue Chip Five Star Sports. We will start in 2 minutes and we will end promptly at 8 p.m. Eastern. I hope everyone had a marvelous day and that you are now ready to get info on the college recruiting process. We have rebranded to Blue Chip Five Star Sports, and this is our first production with our new brand for all the individuals who we've met in the past 12 months, and specifically since the college recruiting season has concluded late July from then until now. Less than 60 seconds to start, and we'll get going. All right. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Blue Chip Five Star Sports. Let me give you a little bit of background and insight on our organization and what we do. We are a grassroots organization purposing to aid families, the athletes, their parents, and the community on those who are pursuing college scholarships and navigating through the college scholarship landscape and process. More specifically, we offer information, insights, and guidance to those families and individuals who are seeking scholarships. We also want to help those individuals process through the landscape of obtaining a scholarship, what you need to do before, during, and after that process has concluded, some of the other information in the areas that you will need to know in that process. If you are on the line, if you could let me know that you're there by entering your information on the chat, that will be helpful and we can continue on. Now, these weekly publications are geared to give you general information about the process. What we want to do is get the community informed on all the things relative to playing sport in high school, and specifically if you're in high school playing sport, if you desire to move on to the next level, what it all entails. There are a lot of areas that you need to know about, and there's a lot of information that is out there for you to glean. Now, we've amassed all this information from being in the industry for 17 years. And what we're doing is capsulating it into a format that we can communicate it with families so that they can use it in their pursuits of scholarships for their children. It is not an easy field to be in, but once you know the categories and the areas, you can navigate intelligently through them, preparing to put your child in the right position to be seen by a college coach, recruiter, or scout. Now, a little bit about me and my background. I've been in the community, the basketball landscape community, for 17 years. I've got 2 children, one of which did obtain a scholarship to go to college. And I'll share more about that information, down the road. I've learned a lot in that process, and I had no one telling me all the information that I'm sharing with you and or where to go to get any of the information. So what I decided many years ago, when I started doing teams and then tournaments and got more information about this entire process, was to package it and then present it in a format to families in the community. Now, this is the free service. And in the free service, we're going to give you general information. You are always welcome to contact me, via phone, text, or email, and I'll happily entertain your questions and walk you through those with appropriate answers. There are so many areas that you need to know about relative to the college recruiting process. Areas such as, what are the academic requirements that my child needs to have, and when should I start this entire process? What is all involved with working with the NCAA, and what division or what level should my child be pursuing? There's several levels of collegiate level athletics, I should say, excuse me. D1, D2, D3, NAIA, SIAC, MEAC, Sunbelt, Peach Belt. There's so many different levels of colleges out there. And what we've done is we've amassed all the college coaches' contacts in 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, and soccer. And so we're sitting on a wealth of information that we package together along with info that you provide, or that we can send you to providers to get it formatted so that you can put it in a structure that college coaches would want to see. So with that said, some of the other areas that you will need to know about are AAU versus exposure events. What are the differences? How high school basketball works, and the politics and all the things that go there, and why your high school coach is important in this process, as well as beyond high school, your AAU coach. Player rankings, how do you get them, and what are they about, and how do they affect you? And what opportunities come as a result of you having a ranking, and what responsibilities come with that. Participating in camps and clinics and showcase events, and even how to find those events. There are many AAU clubs within a stone's throw of where you live, but many of you may not know how to find them. It's like they're right there in front of your face, but they are the invisible entity. So, you need to know how they play into this process, and how your AAU coach really should be getting you ready for showcase events. And relative to that, what are showcase events, and how do you find them, and what about them? So there's so much information that you need to know as a parent, and that's what we're here for. Continuing on, player profiles. Does your son have a player profile? And do you even know what that is? And where do you go to get one? And what are the components of a player profile? The marketing of your child to a college. If you know how to do that, then you need to have content in your profile that draws the interest of that college coach, recruiter, or scout. So there's so much. Oh, and then marketing. As I mentioned, there's certain programs out there that pitch to you as a parent that we can do this for you, we can do that or the other. Well, being in the industry over 17 years, I've run up against and into many programs that I wouldn't give a penny to. And you need to know the ones that are out there that do what they say, and others that are just money grabs. So there's a lot of information in this whole process and in this industry that you need to know. I was at an event this weekend, and one of those parents may be on this call now, or on this webinar now, who basically said to me that it was overwhelming, and it really is. There's so much information that you need to know as a parent, but quite honestly, there are not many entities out there where you can go to get the information. So with that said, we've got an agenda tonight where we're going to give a template of things to start the process. And I would encourage you, to be on these weekly free seminars where we give, again, general information about the process. We have a template that we're going to put on our YouTube channel that will week by week kind of go over the topics that we're going to be covering. We're going to start a podcast as well, so that we have an audio record of all of this for those that don't have time to be on the webinar. And then, we go into other services that we offer. Now, we do have paid services as well. We offer all of what we can do for you as a parent. If you don't have the desire, the time, or the will to kind of get involved with that, but you want a company or a service that will do it for you, we can certainly talk to you about that as well. All right. So what we're going to do now is kind of start with what I call the 5 pillars. And again, let me give a little bit of background into me and into my background in this industry so that you will have some kind of reference point. I have twin girls, and I started coaching basketball. This December will be starting my 19th year. And when I started at the church program. And in my experience, I have found that there are 5 entry points to the basketball community, and specifically, but this also applies to soccer and or volleyball as well. My experience mostly has come in the basketball community, but I've also coached and participated in volleyball and soccer as well in some capacity. So when I speak specifically about basketball, it pertains to those other sports as well, just FYI. And in that process, I started with no knowledge. I didn't know anything about AAU, didn't know what it meant. As I went into the basketball, deeper and deeper into the basketball experience, my eyes were open to a lot of information that I have since gleaned over the 18 years prior, and I've capsulated it into a program that we're now presenting to you. I also have competitive teams that travel in the sport of basketball, and will be developing teams in the sport of volleyball and soccer in 2020 as we move into our own building. And also have experience in doing events. I do events, everything from leagues to tournaments to exposure events to showcase events. So I've been working with coaches up and down the scale from rec all the way up to the college level for the past 18 years. Now, let's go back to those 5 entry points. You either enter a sport in one of these 5 ways: church, rec, YMCA, I-9, or upward. Those are the 5 entry points to most sports in our community: church, rec, YMCA, I-9, or upward. From there, you elevate to the next level up, which is typically competitive. Competitive ball would be something like what is in Gwinnett County, Georgia, a feeder school program called GBL, or in Cobb County, CCJBC, Cobb County Junior Basketball Conference. Those are conferences that facilitate competitive games, a little bit more structured and competitive than what you get at church or rec or any of those other 5 entry levels, where kids kind of continue on who are more serious about the sport. From there, you elevate to the off-season programs called AAU, or travel or competitive or club sport. And that's where kids do it in the off-season to refine their skills, grow their skill set, and continue to elevate in the sport. Then from there, you in my world, you play AAU or competitive or club sport for 4 or 5 years until you get to the point right before high school. Then you elevate to the exposure circuit. And the exposure circuit is a different element altogether. It's the highest level of competition where all the best of the best athletes play in front of college coaches, recruiters, and scouts. So I've come up with, in my estimation, what I call the 5 pillars. And in my 18 years, if you are serious about playing at the next level up, and I have gone through this with my own child, so I'm not saying something that I think or that I theorized. I've actually experienced what I'm communicating with you now. And that is that each family or each athlete needs to have a package that consists of 5 pillars: pillar number one, a um, metric profile. Sorry, drew a blank there for a moment. A metric profile. That's where you need to have a profile on your child that goes into detail on height, weight, wingspan, vertical, foot speed, three-quarter court speed, uh, you know, 2-point shooting percentage, 3-point shooting percentage, free throw percentage, lateral percentage, shuffle speed, just so many very categories all compiled into what we call a metric profile. We can communicate to you where you go to get this metric profile, but that's pillar number one in your 5-pillar package. Pillar number two, a stat profile. Whatever your sport is, you need to have stats that are recorded from as early on in that young athlete's career as possible. In other words, if you can start keeping stats on your child as early as, let's say, 5th grade, and you've got a program that shows what their stat profile was for the entire year, AAU or competitive and school ball, that's great. And then you can have one for 6th grade, and then 7th grade, and then 8th grade. And in future broadcasts, I'm going to go over some of what we recommend and show you on screen the value and the purpose of having that stat profile. But that is what college coaches will look at. They'll look at your metric profile, and then they'll want to know about your stat profile. Number three, after you have those, pillar number three is a video profile. You need to have footage on your child in competitive arenas in the sport that they play, so that college coaches, recruiters, and scouts can actually see what they look like against high-level competition. So pillar one, metric profile. Pillar number two, stat profile. Pillar number three, video profile. Pillar number four would be write-ups. The more write-ups that your child has about them in their athletic experience, the better for them in terms of how that recruiter is looking at your child's profile. Now, there are services out there that will come and do a one-time write-up, and then you have to pay for them, and they may come back. There are other profile services out there where you can get a free package. We offer one of those, and then if you want follow-up, then we can provide that as well. That is at an additional cost. But that keeps you current with a current profile, because it's one thing to get a profile on your child when they're in the, let's say, 8th grade, and then they don't have any other write-ups or any other articles or communications that let that college coach, recruiter, or scout know more about your child and their progress. So let's review before I get to pillar number 5. Pillar number 1, metric profile. Height, weight, wingspan, vertical, all that kind of information. And we'll get more about that off this call. Pillar number 2, stat profile. What's their points per game? What's their rebounds per game? What's their assists per game? What are their turnovers per game? What is their batting average? What is their service average, in volleyball? What is their batting average, obviously, in baseball? So your stat package needs to be in your profile as a player. Pillar number 3, video footage. Need to have video footage on your child that goes in that profile, so that when we communicate to a coach, they have content that they can click on and look at. Pillar number 4, write-ups. That will let that recruiter know what is, what's current on your athlete. And then the 5th one is marketing. Now, this is where, if you're knowledgeable about how to market your child and where to market your child, then you can do that on your own. All the information that I'm giving you can be obtained by research online. So I just want to give you that up front. You don't need a service to do this if you have the time and the will and the patience to kind of wade through all the information online and get, what you need. But in the event that you don't want to do all of this yourself, or you want to just have someone come in to help position your child for sight of a college coach, recruiter, or scout, then obviously there are programs out there, including one of our programs that you could avail yourself to. Now, all of those indices are very intricate. There's so much detail on each one of those. Let me start with the fifth one, the marketing part. Unless you know what colleges your son fits or your daughter fits and what's a fit for what you're looking for. For example, I'm a born-again believer in the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm very proud to say so. And my preference would be to send my child to a faith-based institution. If that was not an option, then I would like to know more about the program where I send my child to. And that requires a lot of legwork, research upon research, in addition to actually going to colleges to meet with the individuals, to going to see them when they know I'm coming and when they don't know I'm coming, communicating with some of the individuals that are on the team and the ones that have graduated. There's so much that goes into each one of these indices. So this is not something that is just you can do, quickly. And let me caution you to say that if you put very little time into any of this, then you get what you invest. I always like to tell the athletes in my organization, you don't get what you want out of fill in the blank, basketball, volleyball, or soccer. You get what you work for. Likewise, the more time that we put in preparation in this pursuit, the better results we're going to get. So in my world, I like to start families with this knowledge as young as third or fourth grade, depending on if you're male or female. And then from there, annually give you more information that will aid you when it comes time for your son or daughter to be seen in a showcase event. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes a lot to be able to really elevate to the level that makes a college coach, recruiter, or scout interested in your child. So with that said, let's see if there are any chat questions that you guys want to provide to me. I want to open it up here for the last 5 minutes of the session to do a Q&A, and also provide my information to you should you want to contact me, which you should be able to click on this channel and call me. I've given out a lot of invitations this week. I've given out a lot of business cards, but my contact information and my website, the parent website, is on our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions that you'd like to pose that I could answer in this webinar, I'd be happy to do so. And then also I want to make sure that you know that I'm available Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Every day. And then most evenings, if I'm not in a gymnasium or on a field or training, up until 7:30 nightly. Let's see, who do we have joining us today? I don't know if I can. We've got 12 individuals online, but if you could somehow let me know who's online, that would be great. By putting in the chat field, that would be great. Well, I don't have any questions at this point. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I do have here. Let's see. Nope, I don't. All right, so let's review what we've covered today. And this is session 1 of the rebranded Blue Chip 5-Star Sport program. And the 5 pillars that we've covered today are that every player needs are your metric profile, your stat profile, your video profile, your write-up service, and your marketing component. And with all of that, in addition to continuing to train and develop in the sport unique to your child, and aligning yourself with a club that will put your child in the best light to be seen by a college coach, recruiter, or scout, is where we start this process. Now, in the coming weeks, we're going to, cover topics in the following areas: collegiate academics and what is required for D1 level scholarship, a D2 level scholarship, a D3 level scholarship, NAIA, so forth and so on. When you should start preparing for all of this information. Information on taking the SAT and the ACT, and when you should actually do that, and when you should retake it, and what the scores and what the scores that should be pursued in those tests, what colleges are looking for at each level, D1, D2, D3, NAIA, so forth and so on. Based on your ACT score and your SAT score, you may qualify for so much scholarship and all those kinds of things. The NCAA is another category that is a wealth of information that you're going to have to know about. The clearinghouse, getting authorized, or not authorized, getting approved to be able to play in NCAA collegiate showcase events, the recruiting process, specific times of the year where college coaches, recruiters, and scouts will be in certain areas where they're looking for athletes. You need to know about the transfer portal, because that's a new thing that's affecting every level of coaching and scholarships and things along those lines. You need to know about AAU versus playing exposure events, what's involved at each one of those, comparing the benefits of playing AAU and then the benefits of playing exposure, and how an exposure event is structured, and where can I find them, and what do they do, and what's the purpose of them. Player rankings. We want you to know that not everyone out there playing sport has a ranking, and you don't need one to get a scholarship. But if you're interested in trying to get ranked, where do you go to get one? And what is the composition of a player ranking? And what is the significance of a ranking? And what impact does it have on my child if we don't have one? And how does a college coach look at that if we don't have a ranking? And much more in those areas. Combine and showcase events. Like, where do I go to get pillar number one? Where do I go to get my child's metric profile? And what consists of that metric component of the profile? And where to find the combine and showcase events where the college coaches will be, so forth and so on. Marketing, which, we've hit on just briefly here. There's a lot of clinics out there that are just money grabs. There are some that are viable. Many are money grabs. There's even a lot of these AAU programs. If you've got a relationship with a good AAU program, it's invaluable. Stay there and seek through that director or your coach information that's going to help your child prepare for the next level up. But many of these AAU programs are seeking the best child that they can find. And when they find another kid that's better than your kid, guess who's out the door? So, you need to know about all of this when you're in this college landscape. And then there's so much more. So I want to, again, say to you guys, I appreciate your time and investing in this free webinar. My contact information, just for the record, for those that are on the webinar that would like to have it, you can reach me at my cell number, 678-667-4188. Again, let me repeat that, 678-667-4188. I'm Coach Rodney, or CPR. And I have multiple online businesses relative to youth athletics. And I've been in the industry. This December starts my 19th year. My email address is info@bc5ss.com. Again, info@Bravo-Charlie-5 Sierra.com. Sierra with an S. And you could visit our website at bluechip5starsports.com. We thank you for your time tonight. If you have any questions, I will be available by phone at that cell number up until 8:30 tonight. Feel free to give me a call. As you can see, I'm ready to take the calls from anyone that comes in. And if I can't get to you tonight before 8:30, leave a message and I will follow up with you at some point tomorrow. Well, that concludes our session tonight. We do appreciate your time and look forward to conversing with you guys down the road. Have a good evening.